They are the Aussie brothers who captivated us during COVID. Luke and Sassy Scott have gained over 5 million followers since the pandemic, bringing the LOLs with their hilarious sibling pranks and now podcast.
Why is it that people are allowed to say to somebody like me, you talk too much or you're too loud? If I was to turn around to somebody like you and say, you don't talk enough and you're really boring, I'm the bad guy at the table. I'm now encouraging people to say, when somebody says to them, you're too much, you can turn around and say to them, you're not enough.
Fast forward a few years and their number one show has them hanging out with the likes of Selena Gomez and Kelly Osbourne. Now Luke and Sassy Scott are hitting the road. Live from our Melbourne studio are Luke and Scott O'Halloran. Hi, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You are so much. You're just so much.
I'm not going to tell you you're not enough. You are just enough. You are perfect.
He's right on the money. Right on the money.
Since we last talked, Scott, you've welcomed two beautiful little Bubba boys into your life. How is fatherhood treating you? What, 5 months down the track?
It is perfect. Good morning, Obed Oliver and Bobby Beckett. The last, I would say, 2 months I've started to breathe since we dropped our overnight 3 a.m. feed. So we are starting to feel like normal human beings again. But I have a huge newfound respect for mums or the primary parent around the world. There were many times I was crying. Oh, that's me swaddling him and the twins. And I've got a newfound respect for parents. It's an incredible journey and I'm so in love with my boys.
Oh, that's wonderful.
You swaddling is it's everything I needed right now.
Absolutely. But also, though, Uncle Luke, how are the babysitting duties going as well?
Oh, I'm babysitting. Scott's calling on me a fair bit now. Uncle Luke, he's really stepping up this time around.
You're a liar. He hasn't looked after them and I'm going to hold off for quite some time. Yesterday he was over and I said, do you want to change a nappy and help me out? And he goes, nah, I don't do that.
I'm getting some good Instagram pics, though.
It's all about the gram. Like, what's the point of having nephews if you can't put them on the gram?
Exactly.
Scott, your brand is all about passion and purpose. Tell us about these unique names that you chose for the Lilies.
Well, listen, I worked in Ghana, West Africa, for over 13 years, on and off, and in an NGO, not-for-profit, with children that were struggling. And one of the first children that I ever worked with, his name was Obed, and he was such a captivating human being, just somebody you could get along with. He could talk to everyone, hold any type of conversation. And I said to him, I will name my first son after you. And so all these years later, the first son came out, so I've called him Obed Oliver. And Bobby Beckett I just think is a cool name, and he's got a cool dad.
There's a famous UK comedian called Robert Beckett who thought the baby was named after him, but we'd never heard of him, but we have now.
Yeah, that's right. It was very confusing, actually.
Oh, that's brilliant. Now, Luke, you began this social media experiment by yourself back in 2020, but Scott quickly became part of the fun. So is it fair to say that he owes you for making him famous?
Yeah, so in our contracts, I get 80% of whatever we earn now, so that helps a bit.
It doesn't happen. If I don't turn up to set, there is no show.
Scott, alongside the comedy, your podcast touches on some important issues too. I mean, why did you want to tackle more serious topics? I mean, you still do all the fun stuff, but you also, do something with a little bit more meat around it.
Listen, I've despised a lot of people in the industry over the years that have a lot of influence, a really big following, and don't use it for any good. And so whilst everybody learnt and only saw 1% of me during, that lockdown period or COVID period when Luke was putting up little snippets of when he would annoy the absolute crap out of me, there's so many topics out there that I think need to be discussed. And we're so lucky that our audience transferred from watching us on TikTok to coming and listening to us on our podcast now, where we still have a whole lot of fun, carry on. There's genuine fights still that happen between me and Luke in that studio. But there's some really important topics that I think people like us should be talking about and holding other people accountable to.
And it gets the numbers up as well.
But now, talking about seeing more of you, though, we're going to see a whole lot more of you guys because you're taking your podcast onto the stage. What can we expect from your tour?
Well, hopefully not this rat tail. Luke just got home. I'm furious this morning.
Where is it?
Luke just got home from Bali and has had a fake weaved rat tail put into his head. And so
it's the real deal.
Hopefully that's not going to be on the show, but what you can expect is some never told stories before. Luke and I find that people are fascinated in who we are now in our life.
And the Wiggles just said they'll have organised chaos. We'll have organised chaos. If we're going to compete with the Wiggles,
Drop your kids off at the Wiggle Show. Mums, dads, come and see us.
Perfect.
I don't know. I think disorganised chaos is more these guys' thing.
And you can drop your twins at the Wiggle Show. Get them to they'll have a
go.
big crash backstage.
Definitely.
Perfect
Definitely.
idea.
Perfect. Guys, always great to catch up with you. You're amazing, amazing. Tickets for
Fantastic.
Luke and Sassy Scott's live go on sale from today.
For more information, head over to themorningshow.com.au.
And give your podcast a plug as well, guys.
It's called Luke and Sassy Scott. You can find it anywhere where you listen to your podcast. And we'd love to see you at our show. Come and say good day.